We're going to take a second and go over some tree stand safety and kind of go over what we do every year to some extent. This year we bought a few more stands than we normally do, but here's a kind of a look at what we have for new stands. We've got these are all two-man stands right here, and they're really cool. They've got two offset seats kind of, and it wraps around the tree. We don't have a whole bunch of those because you need a special tree to put those in, but we've got some places to set those up in that are going to be even just extra room for somebody like me. I mean, I'm tall and I like to have elbow room. So a lot of the new stands we have are going to be two-man stands, two-person stands, two human beings, no matter how you cut it. But these things are, I think, 18 foot tall. There's a lot of room. There's big platforms on them, so they keep you pretty safe. You can put your pack underneath them, or pack a lunch, bring a bag, or whatever. But there are some other ones that are going to be, a little more slimmer profile to get into the smaller trees. We kind of have to have a variety of everything. So you can see different models that we have. These are some not hard-sided blinds, but permanent blinds that we've gotten to put up too. They're going to be elevated. I think they're 4.5 feet by 4.5 feet, so you can do rifle hunts out of here. We'll have heaters in them. It's an upgrade that we haven't done before. We usually just hunt them during rifle season with, out of a tree stand. So the blinds won't be for everybody, but just because we're going to hinder yourself if you don't hunt out of tree stands. We can only hunt so many blinds, right? So we're going to have them available, but you still may be in a tree stand. They're there though. This one here, Retreat, is going to have more. I think probably the smaller platform. Actually, no, this is actually a big platform, but I do have a dozen or so stands that are going to be more basic, like a perch. It's just a little ladder with a little chair sitting on top with a little tiny platform. So you have the full mix. If the deer are going to be in a place where you're going to need to sit in a small little stand, that's just what we're going to have to hunt. But so you guys know, we don't have old rickety stands. These are actually to add on or replace some stands that are older, because some of them do start squeaking and popping. We try to keep them quiet, and if they just get too old, we'll move them out and replace them. But the intention of these was to replace a handful and to grow. So we're sitting on 59 new stands and blinds. These are all ladders. Everything we've got in here that are in the boxes are all ladders and blinds. But here's some leftover stuff from last year, and we're actually going to do our safety video on these. This is probably the hardest setup that I have to get in and out of, and they're really not bad. You may or may not hunt out of one of these. If you don't want to hunt in one of these, you don't have to, okay? So, but they're there. So if you don't like the looks of this and doesn't feel safe, well, you just tell me when you get here if you don't like heights or whatever, because you're gonna be sitting on a stand like this if you use these ladder sticks. So it's more of a lock-on, but look at the size of the platform. This thing, it's a really healthy stand, and they got like a ergonomic seat so you can sit and be comfortable, but you don't have a ladder coming up the base of it, and that gives people a lot of, honestly, it's a false sense of security, but it makes me feel better too than just kind of hanging over the earth on one of these. So again, if you don't want to hunt a stand like this, just speak up, because obviously we've got a whole bunch of ladders that are brand new. These are just additions. We've got 200 other stands at least that are already out in the field. So we'll put you in something that you're going to want to, that you're going to be comfortable in, no matter how it goes. You may not be able to hunt a certain deer because we may only have a certain type of stand in certain areas, but we do have feeders. The feeders are obviously there for rifle season mostly. Another thing that's worth bringing up, that if you don't want to hunt over feeders in Kansas, bring it up to me. We don't have to. We don't hunt over a lot of them anyway. But aside from that, what I wanted to do is kind of go over what we have. Then we're going to go in the field and show you kind of safety, what to bring out to the field, what to expect, what to look for. Other than that, I always welcome calls about safety. If you have any questions ever about safety, if you don't feel safe, don't go up, ever. Simple as that. We'll find another place to put you, or if something is loose or something like that, just report it, call me. I'd rather come get you than have an accident. We've never had an accident, don't plan on any. So communication from your side is huge though. So pay attention to where you're going, when you're getting in, check your straps. I'll say it again because it's important to remember. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of wind out here, and you get these trees rocking on a strap, and it's not that I think you're gonna fall out of the stand. Pretty sure no one's ever just fallen out of a chair, but $3 strap from China could sure break. So it's important to look at those things, and we'll go over that again later on. Here's one of our ground blinds that we've been using. This is mostly a turkey setup that we have, but some of the rifle hunters will be able to hunt from these on field edges and type of on the edge of like crops or alfalfa. Most of the time our rifle hunters will use these, but we have killed whitetail with a bow, actually a compound bow out of these as well. I wouldn't expect to hunt out of one unless you absolutely will not hunt out of a tree stand. Some people won't. So it's available if you want to, but our hunting blinds for deer are going to be mostly going to be elevated, solid or aluminum frame blinds, not something that can blow away in the wind, because these things are pretty susceptible to blowing away, especially out here in Kansas when it's always windy. The size inside though, you got room for 2 people in there if you have a husband and wife, or father and son, or just 2 friends. Somebody tags out early and they want to sit on a field edge, we can definitely do that. But again, this is really more of a turkey setup, but it's worth knowing that we have them just in case you need them. A couple things you're going to need to hunt here with us is a safety harness with a carabiner on it. Carabiners, this one looks a little beat up, so I probably should have a new one. I'd recommend getting one that you trust your life with or your back. Safety harnesses, there's a million of them out there. Pretty much every tree stand you buy comes with one. But you got to ask yourself, if you have to fall from a tree stand, do you trust that? And the answer is no. So spend the money on one. I mean, please. There's a lot of companies that make them, but I've always used Hunter Safety System. I've started with them. I've actually fallen with one, and they work. This might be the one I actually fell with. I don't remember. I've got a few around, but don't let that fool you into thinking you can borrow one, because people forget them all the time. If you don't have one, technically you're not gonna be able to hunt from a tree stand. And if you can't hunt from a tree stand here, you're tying your hands about 90% of the sets that I have, maybe 95. Probably more like 99, honestly. So make sure you have a harness with a carabiner on it. And one tip I have to give everybody is put this thing on underneath your coat, because it's not the best fabric in the world. It's a great harness, but I really don't like this being on the shell of me or on top of my outer layer, because you can pick up the sound. It's not the quietest thing in the world. It's not meant to be quiet. It's meant to save your life. So put it on underneath your shirt or your base layer, put your hunting coat over the top of it, and pull this thing out and lay it in front of you before you put your other coats on or your other clothes on, just so you've got access to it. Because what happens a lot of times when I'm walking in with hunters in the morning, this thing's buried in behind them, and I'm digging in there, getting a little cozy with my hunters, where I don't really want to be, and they don't really want me doing it either. But we do what we got to do to get you in the stand. So again, throw this harness on below just over your base layer, and leave this out front so you can find the thing first thing in the morning to hook into the tree. So here's one of our safety lines. This one's made by Hunter Safety System also. I know a lot of companies make these as well, or at least a few. The thing I like about this one is that it's got a reflecting ribbon inside of it, so you can see it without having to use bright eyes, which we've got bright eyes and strips everywhere anyway, but you can see this thing from a mile away. And this stand's got 2 on it because it's a 2-person ladder. There should be 1 on that. They should be tied to the bottom of the stand, so you have some tension as you go up the stand. But the point of this thing is that it's on a slip knot. So as you move up, you just let it go. If you hang on to it and you fall, you're gonna have a tough fall at the bottom of the hill, or the bottom of the ladder. So you push it up, hook your carabiner to it, and then you can just move up as you go. You put it up to here as high as you can go, and if you fall, it's going to catch you. You're not even going to slip a 1/4 inch, I wouldn't think. It's just going to catch you, and you're going to dangle as opposed to falling to your death, or what you may wish was your death. Sadly, I'm not joking. Some people have broken their backs. Every year it happens, just in this state alone. And nobody thinks it's going to happen to them. Nobody, including me the day that I fell. I didn't even know I'd fallen until I was dangling, and I was like, I didn't see it coming. I thought I could stop myself with my hand hanging onto one of these, and I'll tell you what, I'm not that strong. I like to think that I was that strong, but I'm not even close. I mean, when I fell, I was just dangling, but I didn't hurt myself, and I'm still standing. So everybody has to use these things. Now, when you come out, again, you hook this thing up, it slides freely up and down. Again, if you hang on to it, you're gonna slide freely very quickly down to the bottom of the ladder. So move it up, let it go, move up. As you go to the top of the stand, you can put it up above you, and I like to have it set up behind me about as high as I can sit. Like if I'm standing, I put it right about here, to where when I sit down, it's just give me a little bit of tension. And then if I were to fall, I only got to fall about 6 inches. It isn't that I feel like anyone's going to come out here and fall out of a tree stand. The reason I do this is because straps break and things get rusty and things break. And I'm a large person. I'm 6'5", 250 pounds. So if I fall that far, I'm surely going to break something. And I'm also putting a lot of pressure on the stand. And this thing's rated for 500 pounds. But what are the straps good for? I don't know. They seem like they're in good shape. Something else I want you guys to physically look at when you come out here are the straps. Feel the stand, make sure it feels sturdy. They're all gonna have a little bit of wiggle right here. You know, we've gone through, we do safety on these every year to make sure they're set up. but it's still your life, please take note and come out here and look at the straps. Make sure there's nothing frayed down here. Make sure your knot's good. Make sure your carabiner's in good shape. Now that I've actually looked at this carabiner, it will be gone. Here's a good example of one that I don't think is worth saving 20 bucks just to use for next year. The rust and the dings on here. This is mine, so shame on me, but you won't see this one in circulation this year. Please bring your own. The next thing I want to talk about are accessories for the tree stand. Accessories are important. Look, people bring their own stuff and they forget it in the tree. So sometimes we have extra things up there, like this one has a crossbow holder in it. Sometimes people see those things up there and they bring them back to camp on purpose and they think somebody had left them behind. Hey, who wants this bow hanger or who wants this tow up rope? Well, they're supposed to be there. We try to put them on every single stand. They're supposed to be there for you, but everybody needs to bring a few things. A tow up rope, a harness, something to hang your bow from, and probably something to hang your backpack from, especially if you're a bigger guy. Because if you're bigger and you're on a single stand, those things are rated for 300 pounds. 300 pounds for a 290 pound guy, plus your backpack, plus lunch, you're over the top of your limit. So bring another hook or a screw-in peg just to put in the tree, hang your backpack from it, make sure you're under that rating size. Now, if you're in a two-person stand and you're 280 pounds or 350 pounds, you're okay, you got a little bit of wiggle room, but most people like to have that extra room to stretch out, elbow room and everything else. So aside from that, for accessories for a tree stand, a seat. Seats are important. There's some seats, some of our stands have ergonomic seats, like from River's Edge that I showed you earlier in this video, but that's the exception to the rule. A lot of these stands, you're really not paying for the seat, you're paying for the steel. The seats usually suck, so bring a seat that you like, and then at least you can stay comfortable up there. Some of them have seats that have blown off, some of them seats that are intact, but again, nobody ever gave a lot of these tree stand companies, the exception of the ergonomic seats that River's Edge makes, most of them are pretty uncomfortable. So bring something, bring some kind of pad with you that you can stay comfortable up there, because even an extra half an hour might get you a booner. So one thing I think is important to bring up is that you get a harness that's rated for your size and your weight. Make sure you do your homework. Just because it'll hold 175 pounds. It may be designed for women, maybe designed for men. Women, don't borrow your husband's harnesses. Try to buy one that's designed for you. Maybe make sure it really fits your body too. When you get in, snug it up so you don't have a lot of slack. And watch the safety videos that they give you. They give you that stuff for a reason. These things are designed to save your life or your mobility, which is essentially, everybody's life. If we lose our legs, you have to lifestyle change. Nobody wanted that to happen to them. So make sure you've got the right harness. Make sure you've done your homework. Make sure you've gone online and watched the videos and done what you need to do to make sure that if you do fall, that you're safe. Because there's a lot of issues. If you fall out of a tree stand, that they know about that I don't. One thing I can think of right now is blood pooling. If you're to fall and dangle on a tree like this and you can't reach the ladder, or let's say you knock yourself unconscious, let's say you fall and you bang your head on the ladder on the way and you knock yourself out, who knows how long you'll be unconscious for. You have to know those tricks to get yourself out of the situation. I'm not a guru on that. I'm not a guru on anything really. I think I just have some experience in one avenue or another, but the companies that do these things for a living definitely know exactly what you need to do in those situations. Staying safe and falling and not dying is number one. Number two is what to do after the fact. Watch your videos and learn from them. Learn from the companies who do this stuff for a living, because they're going to tell you a lot more about it than I am. Do not take this thing off when you get up the tree stand. There's a reason there's a 30-foot rope. So you don't take it up there, shoot a deer, and then I didn't tell you how many times this happens. And then some of you are probably going, oh shit, he's talking about me. Well, I'm talking about a lot of you. These knots are left up there. What are you doing? The point is to have it come down with you, so if you fall on your way up or on your way down, you're not gonna hurt yourself. So people get excited, they leave them up there, they unclip their thing, and they walk down the stand with adrenaline surging through their veins, looking for their deer, looking for blood, or just shook up with no fall restraint. Thank God it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. We have the only person that's been dumb enough to fall out of a stand so far is this guy. But thankfully I had the harness on and it didn't happen. But again, use it from the ground to the top and then back down. When you get down, just cut this thing off of here. Other than that, just be safe out there and don't be shy to ask questions on this stuff. I'm always here to help.